Hello, my name is Ryan Johnson, and I'm here for my final video presentation for my 411 Media Effects class. By the way, spoilers ahead for Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potter series, and not many shows out there today really show just the power of friendship that people can have in between each other. One of the things I'm really annoyed about nowadays is the movie TV show The Flash, and how literally every episode seems to just be the main bad guy is miscommunication.
There's something about him.
Come on, you can't just go through his stuff.
Is trust not something that you have on this earth?
So I wanted to look at something, and I've been watching a lot of Harry Potter, watching a whole bunch of theory videos. So I really wanted to do something on something I love and shed a new light on it for you. So I wanted to systematically analyze the power of friendship in the Harry Potter movies and analyze how acts of loyalty resulted in positive consequences and how disloyal acts resulted in the opposite. And I want to show you this because I want to show you that Harry Potter is worth your time watching. If somebody hasn't seen it yet, you'll be able to watch it and see how it encourages good behavior, trustworthiness, and respecting friends. And through my systematic evidences, you'll be able to see the hard proof of what the good theme is of Harry Potter, that friendship is magic, or that the love that they share helps each other succeed. Now, does loyalty to friends result in positive consequences? And is there an abundance of overall loyal acts to the show a theme of Harry Potter as the power of friendship and unity? That's what I went and spent about 7 hours, actually probably 8, because I paused the movie a lot to write down the stuff, to analyze just act by act. Now, does then disloyalty have the inverse effect, bringing only negative consequences? This is what my method and my coding was. A loyal act is when a protagonist character performs an action or makes a decision that would benefit or is intended to benefit another protagonist, either strengthening their relationship, providing safety, or increasing well-being, which could be financial, physical health, or mental health. Now, a disloyal act, on the other side, the inverse of a loyal act, is when a protagonist character performs an action or makes a decision that would benefit either only themselves at the expense of another protagonist, or is deliberately trying to harm or decrease the happiness of a fellow protagonist. Now, positive consequence is when a protagonist character, and I'm analyzing it for both the sender and performers and the receivers and observers. I'm trying to observe everybody that's involved. When they receive a benefit that is either relationship strengthening, provides safety from enemies, and or increases well-being, which can again be financial, physical health, or mental health. Now, a negative consequence is when a protagonist character, again for either the sender, performer, and receiver, observer, receives a detriment to their relationship with other protagonists, safety, or well-being. I will try to observe the ends to the means of each of these actions and not just the means themselves. This is because some acts are portrayed as bad, but then later on with hindsight, they're actually a good thing that leads to a triumphant end. And the most notable example is Snape and his sacrifices, and how he just kind of seems like the bad guy the entire time until the very last moment. He's not. The movies observed were the first movie, which was The Sorcerer's Stone, and the last movie, which is The Deathly Hallows Part 2, plus one additional movie chosen at random in the middle, which was randomly selected to be The Half-Blood Prince. This was done to show the progression of the theme throughout the movies from beginning to end. I'm confident that if we observed more movies and increased our sample size, we would still find similar results. After hours of systematically finding each action and analyzing their consequence, I ran the data through a one-way ANOVA test because we have a dependent and independent variable, which is, does the loyal act beget a positive consequence? And what I found from the data was a very positive correlation with my hypothesis. My F values are over 8, even 9 on one of them, and the significance value is at a dead 0, showing us that there is a significant difference in the data. Rarely did this data deviate from the hypothesis, and each time it did, I made sure to type out what happened exactly. Like, for example, when Hagrid announces that he's with Harry Potter in the pub and everybody's like, who's Harry Potter? And here he is the boy who lived. And that wasn't necessarily a positive act or a loyal act. He was just, I feel like Hagrid was kind of being dumb in that moment. He's like, yep, I'm with Harry. And so Harry got to feel loved, but also announced himself to Professor Quirrell. Another example is when Ron, talking about Hermione, calls her
mental, that one, I'm telling you.
But Harry doesn't necessarily see that as, reinforcing that thing. In fact, it makes him like Hermione more because he sees her as more of an outcast in it. I mean, you just look at the look in his eyes and he's like, wow, Hermione's just like me. Well, they become friends. So that was a disloyal act and yet a positive consequence. Also, if we're looking at just the sheer numbers of how many acts were loyal versus how many are disloyal, there were 167 positive acts or loyal acts versus only 48 disloyal acts. That is over 78% of the movie are loyal acts. This repeated exposure showing us over and over again that loyal acts are good will be reinforcing. What the significant data shows is that the representations in Harry Potter about loyal acts will result in positive consequences, showing us that being loyal to friends and family will result in a positive life. The best illustration of this is Harry's loyalty to Dumbledore. It is something that is cultivated throughout the whole series, and when Harry is tasked with very difficult tasks of destroying Horcruxes, without the physical aid of Dumbledore around, Harry carries out the whole plan that Dumbledore laid prior to his death. By following the plan, the good guys prevailed. The next best example, and some might say is actually the main example, so I kind of put it as a tie between Dumbledore and this one, and that is just the Golden Trio. You'll see that everybody calls these three people, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, everywhere. If you just go and Google Golden Trio, you'll see these characters assist each other in every movie to accomplish the resolution. See how they help each other to get through the challenges at the end of the Sorcerer's Stone, each of them relying on each other to use their unique skills and abilities to get through the tasks. Then there's the hunt for the Horcruxes, where it's just the three again out all on their own, each working for the safety of the others while solving the mysteries of how to destroy the Horcruxes and where in fact they are. Now, what does this mean for you and me? Let me introduce a communication theory for application. According to Cultivation Theory laid out by George Gerbner, media entertainment presents a view of reality, and consistent viewing of this reality can change an individual's perception of the real world. Now, what would that mean if you were following the movies over an 8-year course, watching them as they come out each and every year? And then when you go back to rewatch those series and binge watch them like I do, that is 19 hours and 40 minutes straight of this content. So for many people who are in my same demographic, this is what we can call the drip hypothesis in action, which shows that just long-term exposure to repeated social reality reinforces the power of friendship in this. I've had, since elementary school, that's when Harry Potter came out. It came out a while ago, didn't it? But starting in elementary school and all the way up till now, and I'm 25. So we're sitting at like 18 years of my life watching Harry Potter. Now this can be a good thing for the viewers because it reinforces that friendships are good and loyalty to them brings positive consequences, resulting in more loyal friendships and more trusting relationships. This is in contrast to movies or TV shows like The Flash, where literally every problem can be solved if the team just communicated with each other and showed more loyalty to each other.
Come on, you can't just go through his stuff.
If the same analysis was performed, the results may be different, but we would see a strong case for at least disloyalty resulting in negative consequences. Sure, the trend would be the same, but also we're seeing repeated actions of being disloyal. According to cultivation theory, this may convince some that it is better to go it alone and not involve friends. Meanwhile, Harry Potter shows the power friendship has in overcoming obstacles. Notice Hermione in this scene right here.
I've got to finish whatever Dumbledore started, and I don't know where that'll lead me, but I'll let you and Ron know where I am when I can.
I've always admired your courage, Harry. But sometimes you can be really thick. You don't really think you're going to be able to find all those Horcruxes by yourself, do you? You need us, Harry.
Where Harry says, I'm going to go it alone. And Hermione says, no, you're freaking not. We're the golden trio. You can't stop all three of us. Now, a limitation to this study is that we did not observe the loyal acts of the antagonists in relation to each other. However, we can overcome these limitations by recognizing that the vast majority of audience members don't identify with the xenophobic antagonists, and that the most of the antagonists are acting selfishly in their own interests anyways. As Dumbledore puts it in the books, Voldemort's followers are a motley collection, a mixture of the weak seeking protection, the ambitious seeking some shared glory, and the thuggish gravitating toward a leader who could show them more refined forms of cruelty. In other words, they're really not worth our time. The antagonists of the story were made to be a deliberate way to show with absolute surety that they stood for the wrong thing and that we were to dislike them. There's little very gray area, except for Snape. And even then, in the very end, we learn it is because he was doing one of the hardest jobs of a good wizard could do at all, and is revered as a hero afterwards. So the most persuasion is going to happen from the protagonistic point of view. And this is where we get our cultivation, that friendship is magic. By looking at the repeated and statistically determined actions of our characters through the lens of cultivation theory, we can see that the major theme of Harry Potter is that power of magic resides in friendship and love. Practically every loyal action determines a positive consequence, and we as viewers who repeatedly see this are prone to repeat their example of relying on our friends and in our hard times and becoming close to them. So next time you sit down to watch Harry Potter, remember to sit down with some friends, and while you sit down together, you may see each other come closer together afterward because of the magic of friendship.